Hello and welcome back to the Hairy Housewife YouTube channel. And today we're talking Mad Cow. Hello and welcome back, and that is right, we are talking Mad Cow detailing, and as you can see, the products are right there. Now, this week I am involved in a podcast called The Big Review. Go check it out on Spotify, Podbean. Just type in Johnny Shield Detailing. You'll find it on the podcast. I'll pop the links in the description below, as well as my socials. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But if you want to get involved with this podcast, if you pop over to Instagram and see when we go live, I'll always pop up a post. You can jump in on the live chat when we're doing it. You can jump in on the call when we're doing it. So it's a fantastic, fantastic interactive podcast that if you can get on the time we're recording, you can get involved. Now, this week, we are seeing, can you wash a car for £30? I bought all that for just under £30. Now, I cheated a little bit. It was on offer when I bought it. Now, as you know, my car is probably always clean. And I was like, it's a bit cheating. I need a dirty car to test these products out on. So I thought, I know someone. I give my friend John Favreau lookalike a call, and I was like, mate, how dirty is your car? Now, if you haven't seen it, I did a review of Dolo Juice iPhone Max. His car is filthy. He doesn't clean it. He doesn't understand cleaning cars. He thinks it's a waste of time. So I was like, how dirty is your car, mate? He sent me a photo, and I was like, look, I'm going to pick your car up tomorrow, and I'm going to give it a clean. Now, outside my house is usually really busy during the week with lorries going by. So I phoned up my friend Paul, who runs Valeting Supplies. Link in the description below. If you need anything, pop and have a look, see if he's got it. He will sort you out. Now, phoned him up and said, can I borrow your bay? Can I borrow your unit to wash your car and do some filming? He was like, of course you can. So I headed over to Paul's unit and filmed this review. As you can see, John Favreau lookalike's car is filthy. Shout out to John Favreau. The car is absolutely disgusting. I don't understand how someone can't clean their car. He does thousands of motorway miles, and it looks like this constantly. The car is absolutely disgusting. It makes me cringe every time I look at it. I think, how can you let your car get that bad? However, he doesn't care about cleaning, and the same as I don't really care about wrestling, which is what he is into. So, as you can see, a nice little shot there of Paul from Valeting Supplies van. Don't forget to go check him out. Again, link in the description below. So, what do we do with a filthy car? The first thing we do is we start with a pre-wash. So we are starting here with Mad Cow Slurm. Now I've diluted this down to 1 to 10 for the heavier sort of grime and dirt removal. Now, you can probably see here I'm having an issue with the pump spray that I put it in. I did find out later on why. It was because the little tube in the middle where I had greased it up in the morning, I hadn't put on properly, so it was leaking air all over the place. So I didn't realise that at the time, so I swapped it out and popped the Slurm into my IK foamer. And what a surprise that was. Now that laid down, as you can see here, a nice consistent layer on the car of pre-wash, which was fantastic. It was a nice blanket of pre-wash, sat on the car and left to dwell for around about 5 to 6 minutes. Again, I'm going to pop that on double speed so you haven't got to watch it all. But about 5 to 6 minutes later, I decided to rinse it all off. It could have probably dwelled a lot longer. You can still see the paintwork is nice and wet, but I decided to rinse it off and see how well this had done. Now the car looks nice and clean, however, water does mask a lot of dirt, so we're going to let the car dry and see how well this pre-wash spray has done. I'm going to put a side by side of how dirty the vehicle was and how the pre-wash spray has done it on the screen for you guys to see now. So take from this what you will. The car is still covered in a thick layer of film and grime. However, the big bits of dirt, the big bits of grime, and the loose mud is now gone. And I believe the pre-wash did help with the removal of this. However, the car was filthy, the car was dirty, the car was disgusting. I wouldn't expect this pre-wash spray to remove all of that. So, we'll revisit this pre-wash spray at a later date. But for now, it hasn't got the cut or the bite that I expected a pre-wash spray to have. But again, this car was filthy. We are now going to move on to the wheel cleaning. Now, this wheel cleaner, Musa, is a pH neutral balanced wheel cleaner, and it's a safe wheel cleaner to use on any maintenance wash. Now, we're going to jump in. I didn't expect a lot because it is a pH neutral wheel cleaner. Usually you get an alkaline or an acidic wheel cleaner. This is a pH neutral one, and these wheels are filthy, so I didn't expect a lot from this wheel cleaner. However, let's crack on and let's see how well this wheel cleaner did against these nasty, nasty wheels. Now, I am spraying very, very liberally. Like I said, these wheels are nasty. I'm not going to be using any shampoo, anything on these wheels, because I do not have a dedicated wheel shampoo, and I have to use these products in the background that I had bought. I couldn't cheat and jump in and use another product, so I'm going to be using just the wheel cleaner alone. So I pop the wheel cleaner on. I'm going to let it sit for a little while, and then I'm going to come in, and I'm going to clean the tyre off first. So I'm going to go around with my cheap little tyre brush that I bought from a pound store, and you'll see as I get round the wheel it's doing a good job, but you'll see why when you buy cheap you buy twice. I was going to cut this out, but I'm not going to cut it out. You'll see when you buy cheap you buy twice, and yeah, as you can see the handle snapped off on me. What a useless brush that was. It's the first time I used it, that's the last time I used it. So I left the tyres there, and then I went on to doing the rest of the wheels. Now I did the barrel brush and then jumped on to a detailing brush. I'm not going to show you me doing the whole wheel just because you'll get bored. So you can see I've gone around the whole wheel with brushes, and now I'm going to go around with my face brush just to do the final little brush over, just to get the rest of the loose dirt and grime off the face of that wheel. As you can see already, the wheel is starting to shine up nicely compared to what it looked like. Now with wheels, I always find it hard to remember what the wheel looked like before and after I've cleaned it. I always think, has it done a good job, has it not? So what I've done is that for you guys at home, I have done a double on the screen. This is the wheel before, this is the wheel after. Remember, the wheel has already been pre-rinsed when I went over the car with the pre-wash spray. So a lot of that dirt and contaminants that would have come off with the pressure washer already have. So the rest is the wheel cleaner. And as you can see, it has done a fantastic job. I'm pleasantly surprised by that. And it also had a fantastic, fantastic scent. Now you get some of these wheel cleaners that are nasty. They smell awful. This smelled really, really nice and sweet. So this wheel cleaner for me is actually really, really good. Now we're going to jump onto the front wheel here. Now the front wheel, I've already gone over with the pre-wash spray, rinsed off. I've gone over with the wheel cleaner and rinsed off, and there's still a lot of contamination left over on the wheel. So I decided to grab the iron fallout slayer, which has already got a massive bonus in my book. This stuff does not smell like your normal iron fallout. Yes, you've got that iron fallout smell there, but it's masked by a sweet smell they've added to it. And I tell you what, that makes that a pleasure to use. But has it diluted down the quality and the potency of the product? We're going to find out. So as you can see, I'm spraying it on the vehicle. Now it's quite a milky iron fallout, so you can see where it is and you can see where you have sprayed. And I've sprayed it on that wheel, and we're going to let it dwell. Going to do it on double speed, and you can see it's starting to turn slightly purple. Now, I don't know how much contamination was on this wheel, but the brake disc had gone completely purple. But you can see there the contamination has gone purple, and it has done its job. Now I'm going around with a soft detailing brush just to agitate it a little bit and get in all those little nooks and crannies to make sure I get all that dirt and contamination and all that grime off the wheel. And as you can see, as I rinse it off, a lot of that stuff that was left over is gone. Now there is some contamination and some grime still left over. I think you're going to need a heavier wheel cleaner, maybe an acidic wheel cleaner. I mean, these wheels have hardly been washed in the time they've been on the vehicle, so there's a lot of baked in dirt and grime. However, as you can see from this picture here, that iron fallout has removed a lot more contamination than the wheel cleaner did. So the iron fallout has done a good job. And being an iron fallout that doesn't smell particularly awful is a bonus. It's a fantastic, fantastic idea. So I would use this again. But now we are going to move on to the snow foam. Now I have a little bit of an issue here. So the pre-wash spray had dilution ratios on. We get to the snow foam, nothing. But there's no directions on the website on how much I should be diluting this snow foam down by. So I went and did a bit of a guess, and I put 100 ml to a full lance. And we're going to crack on to see how well this works. Now it could be it needed less, it could be that it needed more, but we're going to find out how 100 ml to 900 ml of water works. So as you can see, as the snow foam goes on the vehicle, it is nice and thick. Now again, at 100 ml of product to 900 ml of water, which is what I've guessed because there's no dilution on the bottle. or directions on the website. You can see it's given a nice thick blanket of foam, and I'm going to let that dwell now. And I'm letting it dwell for around about 5 to 6 minutes. And yeah, it's stuck around, it has dwelled really nicely, giving it maximum contact on the paintwork to remove any contamination, dirt and grime that was left over. Now again, from the pre-wash didn't do a fantastic job, so we're going to find out how well this has done at removing contamination left over from the pre-wash spray. Now we are going to come in and we are going to rinse this snow foam off the vehicle. And again, double speed, so you haven't got to watch me do the whole vehicle, just so you don't get bored and tune out. But as you can see, as I'm rinsing it off, the car is looking shiny. But again, as we see from the pre-wash spray, that doesn't mean a thing. So I'm going to let this dry, and we're going to see how well this looks after it's dry, and you can see how much dirt and contamination is left over from the snow foaming stage, just to see if this has really removed any of that excess grime and dirt that was left over from the pre-wash spray. Again, there is still a thin film of dirt on the vehicle. However, the vehicle is looking a lot cleaner than it did before, and it's looking a lot cleaner than it did after the pre-wash spray. So yeah, that snow foam has done an okay job for a pH neutral snow foam. It's done a fair job. Now, my only again issue with it is no dilution ratio and no directions on how to use it. Other than that, the snow foam was thick, it smelt fantastic, and it stuck around and did the job of basically what you want a snow foam to do. Next, we move on to the contact wash stage. Now, this is their candy shampoo, and again, no directions on how much to add to the bucket, not on their website, not on the bottle. So I've just gone with what I would call standard. I've added about 40ml in, but without any direction. I don't know if that's too much, too little. I don't know. Now, I've filled the bucket up here halfway with water just to see how foamy this was when I agitated it with the lance. And you can see it does give a nice foam. It's not the foamiest shampoo in the world, but it does foam. But foam doesn't mean everything. It's down to how lubricated this product is and how well it cleans. Now, I'm going to chuck some in my snow foam lance. I do this with most shampoos. I chuck a little bit in the bottom, fill it out with water and spray the car over. It helps keep the car sort of wet while you're going around the rest of it. It helps with the lubrication, and it helps to make those suds not dry out as quick. I do it all the time. I know a few others do it. I've seen Paul Dolden do it. Not everybody does it, but I like to do it just to help keep the car wet and lubricated while I'm doing the rest of the vehicle. Now, as you can see here, I'm going around. I'm not going to show me washing the whole vehicle. I'm just going to do it in sort of sections just to show I'm washing the car, and you can see how sudsy this is when it's on the paintwork. And you can see it is fairly sudsy. It is foaming up nicely, and it isn't drying out too quick. I've gone around the sides, the bonnet. I've gone around the whole car, and I've also grabbed my detailing brush and gone around the grills, the badges, and all the little nooks and crannies that you can't get into with a wash mitt. Now, this is a soft 99 detailing brush. Beautiful detailing brush for exterior. Soft, nice, and it doesn't feel cheap. And the bristles so far, I've used it with chemicals, hasn't fallen out. So my thoughts on shampoo is, again, no sort of product information and no ratios and how much to use and how much not to use. But it was nice and sudsy in the bucket. Again, not the sudsiest, but it isn't the worst. It felt nice and slick on the paintwork. It felt nice to use. It didn't dry out too quick, and it did smell absolutely fantastic. So let's see the results after I rinse the car off. As you see, rinsing the car off again in double speed, just so you don't get bored. You don't need to be sitting there watching me rinse the whole car off. I was going to let the car dry just to show you what the shampoo's done, but I need to put a bit of iron fallout on the bodywork. Now, you're probably thinking, why? Because I'm going to be waxing the vehicle today. I'm not going to be polishing because there is no wax on this vehicle. There's nothing to remove. There's no layer to remove. And obviously, it's not within my budget. So I've gone around the whole vehicle with iron fallout removed because I'm going to be laying down the wax in a lazy man's way. I'm going to be putting the wax on the vehicle with my dual action polisher and a waxing finishing pad. Now, I've popped that on the vehicle. I've let it dwell for around about 5-6 minutes and rinsed it off. With the darker vehicle, you can't really see it turning purple, but I could see once I rinsed it off, there was a lot of purple on the ground. So it has removed a lot of contamination from the paintwork. But now I'm going to jump in, I'm going to dry the car, and we're going to see how much dirt is left over from the washing stage. As you can see, I've jumped in here with my Dodo Juice drying towel. I could do a whole vehicle with this drying towel. It's an absolutely spot on drying towel. Now, one of my things with people when they get their drying towel and they hold it up and you see all the dirt on the drying towel and you think, that car was not clean when you went to dry that car. You do not want your drying towel to be filthy. I hardly ever wash my drying towels. They're always clean when they come off a vehicle. And as you can see from this one now, once I've popped it down on my bin to dry, you can see there is no dirt on there. Yeah, it's wet. Yeah, it's damp. That's exactly what a drying towel does. But there is no big chunks of black dirt and brown nastiness on there. And that has been rubbed across the roof. That's been rubbed across the bonnet. That's been rubbed across the seals. That's how you should clean your car. You shouldn't have any contamination dirt left over on your washing towel, which means the shampoo has done a fantastic job at removing dirt, grime, and contaminants. As you can see here, the car is looking nice, clean. The paintwork is very, very dull, but the car is clean and ready to take a layer of wax or sealant. So as you can see, I am jumping in with the dual action polisher because I am being lazy and I can't be bothered to do the muscle work. So I thought, why not let the dual action polisher wax the car for me? Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, sometimes it's quicker. We're going to crack on and we're going to see how this dual action polisher lays down this wax on the bonnet. So I'm using Tropica butter wax, and on the dual action it is spreading out very nicely and I'm getting a nice thin layer. Now I will say it now, but I'll show you again in a few seconds. The wax is very, very watery. Now I did shake the bottle very hard to make sure it wasn't that. The wax is very, very watery and liquidy compared to some sort of wet waxes that I have used, butter wax is what you want to call them, in the past. However, it did spread out nicely. It did give a nice thin coat, but no real instructions on the back. Basically said, put on, leave a little while and buff off, which I suppose a bit more instructions than I've got on a few of the other products from MadCow. However, again, it did go on nicely and I did get a nice thin layer. And then we come to buffing off. Now it did buff off nicely once I left it long enough. Started to buff it off not long after I put it on and it felt very, very grabby. However, once I left it about 5 minutes, it was quite a cold day to cure. It buffed off really nicely and it was such a pleasure to use and left a nice, nice deep shine behind. And it did have some masking abilities. It did feel a few scratches and swirls. I wasn't blown away by it again, but I wasn't disappointed. It was just an average wet wax and it went on nicely, come off nicely. However, I know there's people out there going to say, how did it apply by hand? How did it apply with applicator? Well, I'm going to do it sort of weekend warrior style. I didn't have any applicators with me. So microfiber folded over. I'm going to pour it onto the microfiber now. And as you can see, it is a very watery and very liquidy. However, a little does go a long way. So that little bit that I popped onto that microfiber cloth is spreading out over this whole wing. Now I'm going to leave that to cure for around about 4 or 5 minutes like I did with the bonnet, and then we're going to come to buffing it off just to see how well this product buffs off that's been applied by hand. And again, same story as before, buffing was an absolute pleasure and you can see it is leaving a nice deep gloss behind. You can even see, the metallic flake just popping a little bit and standing out a little bit more than it did before the wax. It's really brought this dull paint back up without the need for polishing and without the need for maybe hitting it with dual action and giving it a paint enhancement. I really thought that's what I'd have to be doing on this paintwork. But as you can see, it has left a nice gloss behind. And that is it, guys. That is my £30 average Joe wash with these products. Let's see what the car looked like once it was fully waxed and out in the sunshine. And as you can see, that looks 1,000 times better than the time I picked it up. The car looks glossy, it looks clean, it looks shiny. The products have worked, the products have done their job, the products have done what they were designed to do. Again, the car looks 1,000 times better. Jon Favreau, I hope you are happy. Mate, your car is looking spotless. I hope you're happy, but I'm sure I'm going to say that again in a few months' time. So as you can see, the products have now vanished, and that is because they are down here with me. Now, if you've listened to the podcast, you'll already know what I'm about to say about these. If you haven't, Stay tuned, and we're going to go through the verdict of these products. We're going to start off with Slurm, the pre-wash spray. Now, for its highest strength, they say to use it at 10-1, and that's what I done. And I wasn't very impressed, if I'm honest with you. Now, the car was filthy. The car was absolutely disgusting. And it did remove a layer of sort of dirt and traffic film. However, there was quite a lot of contamination left over. Now, at $3.99 I paid for this, on offer. Would I buy it again? Probably at that price. At its website price of $11.95, no, I wouldn't buy that again. Unfortunately for me, it just didn't cut the mustard. Compared to some of the other pre-wash sprays that I use, I mean, the iDetail Pro pre-wash spray that I use is around about $8.99 on their website, and that stuff destroys dirt. So for me, unfortunately, Slurm is not my cup of tea. But for others, they might get on with it. Again, these products, I'm not saying not to buy them, I'm not saying you should buy them, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy them. It just didn't work for me. It might work for some of you. So guys, if you have used it, pop your thoughts below. I'd like to know how you got on with it. But I will retest this at a later date because it could have just been that car so minging that just didn't want to touch it. But we're going to retest it at a later date and see how well that product does on maybe a weekly driver or a car that's got regular maintenance washes on it. That car hasn't been washed for a good 3 to 4 months. Now we're going to move on to the wheel cleaner, Musa, I believe it's pronounced. Now I was actually pleasantly surprised by this. It smelled absolutely fantastic. It's a pH neutral, safe wheel cleaner. And as you can see from the footage, it did a fantastic job at lifting the dirt. I was very surprised. I was expecting this to not be so great because it is pH neutral. It is a safe wheel cleaner. And it did look a little bit watery. It didn't smell chemically. It smelled really sweet and really nice to use. So I was like, that ain't going to do much. However, you can see from the footage that removed a lot of dirt and a lot of grime. Those wheels, again, last time I washed the vehicle, I didn't really do much with the wheels. However, that did a fantastic job at removing a lot of road grime, dirt, and contamination. That's been through pretty much most of the winter before it come back to me for a wash. That did a good job at removing the dirt. I mean, you can see I've already been over at the pressure washer. I've already been over at the pre-wash spray. That removed a lot of dirt for a pH neutral, safe wheel cleaner. So would I buy that again? Yes. Yes, I would. Now, again, I paid $3.99 for this, I believe it was. Might be $4.99. But on the website, it's around about $11.95. Again, I'd probably buy it on offer. I don't know if I'd buy it at $11.95, but it is a fantastic, cracking product, and I would definitely suggest giving it a go if you get a chance to buy it. Now, we're going to move on to the snow foam, which I bought the Cola one. Again, $3.99 I paid for this. On the website now, $11.95. Would I pay $11.95 for it? No. Would I pay $3.99 for it? Absolutely. Now, it smelled fantastic. It is very thin, as you can see. However, 100 ml product into 900 ml water. Nice, thick, consistent foam. Nice blanket on the bodywork. But there's no instructions. No instructions on how to use this. No instructions on what dilution ratio to use this at. So I could have probably put 50 ml into 900 ml water. I don't know. I might need 200 ml into 900 ml water. I didn't know. Now, I did it through the MJJ Sealants, which has the reputation of making things thicker. So I don't know how that dilution would go through a normal snow foam lance. However, for me, it went through nicely at 100 ml product to 900 ml water. It smelled fantastic, and it did an okay job at lifting the rest of that road grime, dirt, and contaminants that were left over. For a pH neutral snow foam, yeah, it wasn't bad. Again, would I buy it at $3.95? Yes. At $11.95? Maybe not. Maybe not. And then we move on to the shampoo. Now, again, no sort of instructions on how to use this. No dilution ratio. No 40, 50, 30 capful. None of that. It just doesn't even tell you to pour it in a bucket. It tells you it's a high suds in shampoo. It tells you it's got a nice fragrance. And that is all the bottle tells you. Again, it was nice. It was slick. It didn't dry out. It gave an okay suds in the bucket. Again, suds isn't everything. But it was nice and lubricated. It did smell fantastic. And it did do a fantastic job at cleaning. You can see that from the drying towel once I'd gone over the whole car, that the drying towel was clean. Now, people will say, oh, you went over the car with iron fallout. I only went over the bottom half of the car with the iron fallout. Didn't do the roof. There's no need to. Some people do, some people don't. I don't. But I went down the bottom of the car. So even rubbing my drying towel over the roof, over the bonnet, there's no real dirt that come off onto the drying towel. The drying towel was clean. So this did do an okay job at cleaning. And it also was nice and sudsy. Again, not the best, not the worst. And it was very, very lubricated. Would I buy it again? At $11.95? No. $3.99? Maybe. However, the lack of instructions has irritated me slightly. But again, if you've used products before, if you've used shampoos before, I wouldn't say it's common sense, but I'd say you're used to sort of just putting in 30, 40 mil. So you might know. If you're a weekend warrior with any of these products that haven't got any directions on, you might be a little bit confused. So if I give these to someone like my brother-in-law who washes his car regularly, but is not sort of a nut like I am, he might look at that snow foam and think, do I use it neat? Do I use half the bottle? How much do I use? And he might use far too much or not enough to get good results. So I think the lack of directions and the lack of dilution ratios on the bottle is a little bit frustrating. However, we're going to move on now to the Slayer Iron Fallout. And that is here. Now you can see it's quite a milky fallout. Now when I first got this, it was separated. So you had a clear layer and like a milky layer on the bottom. And I opened the lid and I was like, whoa, that stinks. That is going to be nasty. I don't want to use that. However, once I shook it up and the sort of layers mixed, I sprayed it and I was like, where's the smell? Where's the smell? Now I got a slight sulphury smell, slight eggy smell. However, they've managed to put something in this to mask that smell. And it's actually quite pleasant to use. So it's not a bad product scent-wise. You know, if you're looking for something that doesn't stink, if you are a weekend warrior and you want to use an Iron Fallout, this could be the one for you. Now, at $11.95, I would say, personally, you can get Iron Fallout cheaper. You can get Iron Fallout that might be better. But for $11.95, I would buy this again. Just for the sheer fact that I can use this with people around and they're not thinking, you've dropped your guts. I can use this as basically a weekend warrior and you're not thinking, oh, that stinks, need to put a mask on. It was actually quite a pleasant Iron Fallout remover to use. So I really, really can't complain. They have hit the nail on the head with this one. Again, it's not the strongest Iron Fallout I've ever used, but it did do the job, and it did smell nice, and it was just a nice user experience. So yes, I would buy this at $11.95. Again, if it was on $3.99, I'd buy the lot. If I could ever see this on offer, because sometimes MadCow have deals. If you pop onto their Instagram page, every now and again they'll pop a story up or a post up, and they sometimes have sales going on eBay. So they sometimes sell big 5-litre drums on eBay, and sometimes they go at ridiculously cheap prices. So I think if I see this on there going cheap, I would be tempted to buy a 5-litre drum of this, because it is a fantastic Iron Fallout remover for any weekend warrior, or if you just don't want that nasty smell. So yes, I would buy this one again. This is a decent Iron Fallout remover. So I'm going to move on to something that I don't have the recording for, and that was cleaning glass, and that was with their Oreo glass cleaner. It's a hydrophobic glass cleaner. Now, with the name of Oreo, I expected to smell chocolatey or maybe like Oreos. It actually smells like bubblegum, blueberry, something sweet like that. I can't put my sort of tongue, I don't mean you don't want to put your tongue on it. I can't put my nose on the scent. However, it is a fantastic glass cleaner. It's a little bit grabby when you're using it, but there's a reason, because it's a hydrophobic glass cleaner. Now, most hydrophobic glass cleaners I use are a little bit grabby, are a little bit bitey, they're a little bit hard to use, they're a little bit smeary when you buff them. However, once they do buff off, they leave a fantastic, nice, glossy results behind. So as you can see, it's a very hydrophobic glass cleaner. It does a fantastic job at cleaning the glass. However, it was a little bit grabby, but at $9.99, if you are looking for a hydrophobic glass cleaner, I would recommend it. Again, it's a little bit grabby, it's a little bit hard to use than some glass cleaners, but it is hydrophobic, and it does leave a nice hydrophobic layer behind. So would I recommend this? Yes. At $9.99, maybe it could be a little bit cheaper. If it's on offer, grab it. Nice glass cleaner, fantastic results. Now move on to the Tropica Buttery Wax. Now again, it's a little bit watery. It was a pleasure to work with though. It did spread out nicely. It did give a nice even layer. Now I haven't checked any durability, any beading, any sort of sheeting from this. I will do a test at a later date, but from a weekend warrior's point of view, it went on really nicely. And once it did cure, it buffed off really nicely. Again, no real instructions. It does just say, apply to one panel at a time, leave till a lightly cured, and remove the clean cloth. Now, some of them usually say 5 to 10 minutes or until it's hazed. It just says lightly cured. That could mean anything. I buffed it after a few minutes and it was rough and hard to get off. After about 5 minutes, when it had cured and I did do a finger swipe, it buffed off really, really nicely, really easy. Left a nice deep gloss, nice shine, and it did mask some of those sort of swirls and scratches that were on the paintwork. And yeah, okay, it did leave a nice gloss. Yeah, it did leave a nice finish. But for $14.95, I feel that's a little bit pricey when you can look at like the Auto Brights banana wax, banana butter wax, because I've used that and I really, really rate that. That is a fantastic, fantastic wet wax. And you're looking at that, I think about £11, £12 for that. So for this, a little bit pricey, considering you can get the Auto Bright wax. However, if it's on offer, £3.99, £4.99, I think I paid for that, grab it. If it's not, then wait till it comes on offer, basically, because it is a good wax. It is easy. It is nice to use. However, at £14.95, it is a little bit pricey. So they're all back up there now. There will be a review at a later date on these products individually for you guys to see. And that won't be too long. That'll be sort of in the next few weeks. I'll try and get those out. However, would I buy these again if they're on offer? The only one that I'm still not sure on is the pre-wash spray, but I will put that to the test on a sort of regularly maintained vehicle just to see how well that works. And I'll test it against the iDetail Pro and we'll see what the outcome is. Now, for the rest of the products, would I buy them again? The fallout remover, 100%. I would pay full price for that any day, just for the fact that it didn't stink, it did a good job, and it was just such a user-friendly product. The rest of them, I would buy them again on offer. The labels need to be changed. There needs to be more direction. There needs to be more instructions on the product. If these are, which I assume they are, aimed at the weekend warrior, they need to be a little bit more clear on how much of the product you need to use and the directions on basically how to use them. Again, they're not on the website. They're not on the bottles. So for me, that's a little bit of a disappointment. However, if they're on offer, yes, I'd buy them again. If they weren't on offer, I think with the prices I'd struggle because they are very similar to the Auto Bright prices, if not a little bit more. And in my eyes, the Auto Bright products are probably slightly better and slightly more user-friendly and a little bit more professional for me. But again, for me, that is just down to personal preference. Some people might really rate these. Some people might really like these. So guys, look, when they're on offer, grab them, try them, see what you think. You might really like the products. You might keep going back. But for me, unless they're on offer, I don't think I would get them again. So guys, I have been the Hairy Housewife. You guys have been great. Massive shout out to Paul from Valeting Supplies. Again, I'll pop links in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all that malarkey. And I'll see you all again very soon.